Hello, hello, hello. This is Mark at BM Masterminds, and I'd like to thank you for joining us today in this LinkedIn Live event. We are doing a 4-part series. This is part number 3 of 4 parts. It's all about our gold mentoring program where I mentor business analysts to secure high-paying positions quickly. So we've got a group, and the group is with 4 people, and that's why we have 4 of these parts. So this is part 3. This is where 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝘶𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗁 is going to join us. Before we had Dora and 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀 to join us. Next is 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝘶𝘀𝗀𝘀 next month. And straight away, I'd like to welcome you to the event. But more importantly, 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝘶𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀 has got internet issues at home. So she grabbed her laptop and she went to the nearest coffee shop in her area. So we do need to excuse there's maybe some background background noise or some lagging or something like that. So please bear with us when we go through this. So I just want to introduce you. 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝘶𝘀𝗀𝘀, if you'd say a few words.
Hello, everyone. My name is 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝘶𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀, as Mark has mentioned and introduced himself. So yes, Mark, I am so looking forward to this session. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. So we're just going to ask you to put, 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝘶𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀 is going to be on mute while we go through this. And then we will put her back on when we're going to ask her a few questions. We've got a Q&A session afterwards. If you'd like to stay and ask a couple of questions, either for me or for 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝘶𝘀𝗀𝘀, that's what we're here for. But we're here to give you as much value as possible in the time that we have allocated. So let's start by asking, why do you think most business analysts stay stuck in their career and they do not progress? Yeah. So this is perhaps for you. Are you perhaps feeling that, when you joined the company, you were earning your salary and you were okay with that, but maybe that was 3, 4, 5 years ago, and now you feel that you're not being paid what you're worth? And if you went to your line manager and you said, how about a 50% salary increase? What do you think your line manager is going to say, right? They are not going to agree with this because it's roughly around 5% increase around the world in salaries in general. So perhaps you're feeling now that you're underpaid and maybe overlooked in your company. You're just embedded in the team. You maybe joined as a junior business analyst, but now you've got all this experience. You've got some certification. You've got some industry knowledge. You know how the software works, the applications, the cloud, the stakeholders. So you feel you're worth more and it's difficult to get a promotion. Perhaps you can get a promotion to a business analyst, but to get a promotion as a senior business analyst in your company, perhaps other people are climbing the corporate ladder in your department or your organization quicker than you are. So they're getting promoted, they're getting higher salaries, and you're being overlooked because you're still seen as the junior BA that joined a while ago. So perhaps this is you. Maybe you're in this situation. Perhaps you've been applying for jobs for a long time. I've got students that have been applying for jobs well over a year, and they get interviews, but mostly they struggle. This is the thing that they struggle with. They struggle to secure interviews because that's what you want when you apply for a job. You want to secure that interview. How do you apply for jobs? Well, you need a great CV that positions you correctly and puts you in line for the role. So if it's a business analyst position, it must be a business analyst CV. If it's a project manager role, it's a project management CV. So we don't want to see these hybrid CVs where you're a jack of all trades and master of none, and you say business analyst, project manager, data analyst, thinking that that's going to promote you better. No, it's not, because they don't want a project manager, they don't want a data analyst, they want a business analyst. So ideally, you'd have separate CVs for that. Also, with your LinkedIn profile, you need to, reflect your true capability. In other words, what are you capable of? Where do you add value? And in your experience section for each role, you need to showcase what you've done, the tools you've used, how you've used them, the benefits to the company, and then also separate your achievements. What are some great achievements? Some people put 25% this, 30% that. Work out those achievements and put them on. So your CV and LinkedIn should reflect, what you're capable of doing. Now, what is the goal when you secure an interview? Your goal is to progress to the next stage of the round of interviews. Sometimes there's 3 or 4 interviews. One of my mentees had 6 stages to one of his interviews. when I was still doing in-person interviews, I had a psychometric test that I didn't do too well in. So your only goal in an interview is to progress to the next round of interviews. And when you're in the final round of interviews, your only goal is to secure that all-elusive written offer, okay? They're going to send you a contract of employment with the terms and conditions, your roles and your responsibilities, your remuneration, your leave, your overtime, all these things in there. That's what you want. You want to secure that written offer. Now, maybe you're unsure how to communicate your value. We've mentioned that already. But you're not positioning yourself correctly. So you need to position yourself. We've got 6 focal points that we look at in our gold mentoring program, and you need to align yourself with what you want. So what is your dream role? Which industry do you want to work in? Which skills do you bring to the party? What is your job title? What kind of role do you want? Permanent, contracting, consulting? You need to position yourself according to your area of speciality, or your niche, as some people call it. So you need to position yourself according to your 6 focal points, and that's how you then populate your CV and your LinkedIn profile. All right. Now, in the comment section, I'd like, for you to type, where is it that you feel you are being stuck? So I've got a button here called comments, and I'm not looking how many people have joined us live here, but if one of you can comment and just say, I feel stuck on my CV, perhaps my LinkedIn profile, perhaps I'm stuck in this company, perhaps I'm stuck in a junior BA role, maybe I'm stuck in this industry, maybe you work for a university and you want to go into fintech or oil and gas or telecommunication or transportation. So where do you feel stuck currently in your role? All right. Or where do you feel stuck when you're applying for jobs? I'm just going to wait for some comments, and then we'll share them on the screen and we'll discuss them. But in the meantime, let's just move over onto the next slide and carry on with the presentation, because as I mentioned, there is a bit of a delay here because we're going through StreamYard onto LinkedIn from my computer, and it's got about a 35-second delay. Okay. Now, some people go into interviews and they're not confident, right? So when you're in an interview, you need to showcase your experience, your skills, your certifications, your knowledge, and all that. You need to showcase this confidently. It's very important that you do it with confidence. And maybe you're underselling yourself when it matters. So we've got this lesson and assignment in Pillar 2, Stage 3 of the Gold Mentoring Program that determines your unique selling points and then your unique selling proposition. Okay? And once you've done that, then we convert that, and then you find where your true value lies. Right. So that's very important that you get that right. I'm just going to check here quickly that everything's going fine, because I'm not getting any comments here. All right. Seems okay. Let me just ask a question here. Are we live? I'm just going to ask my valued assistant, because I can't see if we're live or not, and nobody's giving us any comments. All right. Now, stop underselling yourself, because there's no such thing as being overqualified, in my opinion, right? So the company will be fortunate to have you with all your experience and your skills. And if you bring extra to the party, then you mustn't be embarrassed or ashamed of it, or say, I'm bringing extra skills to the party. So you need to make sure that you don't undersell yourself. All right. Now, you don't want to just secure interviews. Okay, we are live. Thank you. So we want to get you to position yourself for those all elusive offers, the offer of employment, the contract of employment, not just for interviews. Very important how we navigate you through that as well. Okay. There are 3 types of methods to finding your next role. The first method is the advertised job market. So that's where roles are advertised, for instance, on LinkedIn. Okay, Mashaba. Oh, Mashaba has joined us. There we go. Yes, we are live, Mark. That's fantastic. Thank you. My valued assistant, Petra, has already said that on WhatsApp. So thank you for that. The advertised job market is LinkedIn and JobServe and Reed and Indeed. Jobs are advertised. People respond to that. So those are not the best roles to apply for, because those are usually the lower paid jobs, the generalist jobs, And what happens is you perhaps have seen it on LinkedIn when you apply for your job, or when you're looking at the role and it's 5 days old, it's been posted 5 days ago, and 140 people have applied already. And you're like, oh my gosh, do I even stand a chance, of even getting some feedback from the recipient of my application? Or am I just going to hear crickets? So that's the important thing. And when you apply for a job, then you need to, get a response. All right. The other one is the hidden job market. So that's the opposite of the advertised job markets. Those are the roles that are not advertised on your regular platforms. These are hidden jobs. And these are word of mouth, people that you know, people that you've worked for before. Let's say 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝘂𝘀𝗀 and I worked before at a company, XYZ, and then 2 years later, I'm working in this project environment, and the project is, we've got 9 months to go, but we just don't have enough resources, and everyone's working a bit of overtime already. And then there's a meeting, a powwow, and the project manager says, look, we need another senior business analyst. We've got 4 of you. We ideally need another one. Do any of you know, have you worked with a previous senior business analyst before? And then I put my hand up and I'll say, yes, I've worked with 𝗕𝗏𝗂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 before. She's really good. And then they say, right, send her the job description that I'll quickly compile, and ask her to send her untailored CV to me for consideration for an interview. Next day, she's got an interview. The day after, she's got the role. And then she gets asked, what do you want to earn? And then 𝗕𝗏𝗂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀's response is, because she's been mentored by me, she says, well, what is the role offering? And then they say, oh, it's offering between, let's say, £400 and £500 a day for a 6 months contract outside IR35 in your own limited company. So what would 𝗕𝗏𝗂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 say that she wants? 550, because you always go £50 higher, because that's where you value yourself. Even if you're in a perm role earning 45,000, it doesn't mean that's your value. Your value is how you see yourself, the value you can bring to the party regarding the job description. Okay. And then she'll probably get the role at 525, and she can start, within a week or so. Whereas the advertised job market, there's second stage, third stage interviews. You might not even get a response. You might not even get an interview. You might not even progress to the second and third stage. And then there's this principal business analyst with 20 years experience, with a BCS International Diploma and the CBAP from the IIBA. And that person will take $475 for that role. Why? They're desperate. They've been out of work for 2 months. They're really good at business analysis, but they're rubbish at recruitment. They don't know how to market themselves effectively. So now the bank has written them they're going to repossess his house. So now he's desperate. So he'll drop to 475. So in that instance, in that example, from securing the role at 525 with a half-an-hour interview and starting ASAP, compared to 3 or 4 stages and 475, you don't even get the role. Okay, so it's a big difference between those. And then the final method is, I want some people to type in the comments, what do you think is the best method to secure your next role? Okay, and because of the delay, I'm going to look at this question from this LinkedIn user. I'm not sure who it is. Is it okay to remove some roles from your CV to focus on the next roles we actually want? No, do not remove any roles from your CV. So the CV basically starts in chronological order with your experience, your current role, your previous role, all previous roles, and then your education, so university, and then your schooling, and then you were born, right? Well, that doesn't go onto your CV, right? But you can't have missing, because if you're, so a lot of people say only the 10 years experience. No, I disagree. I'm 61 years old. I've got a 2-page CV. Everything fits in. And all my 25 roles that I've had are listed on my CV. Okay, so you just summarize them at the bottom. Why? Because we want to look for gaps in your CV. If we see a gap in your CV, anything longer than 5 or 6 months, we want to know, why is there a gap? Who's this we? The recipient of your CV, so the recruiter or the hiring manager if you apply directly, or alternatively, the interviewer. So they want to know, like, what did you do in that time? And they might think worst case scenario. You were drunk playing Xbox on your uncle's couch, or you were in prison or something like that. Why not tell them what you did? So if you weren't a business analyst, or if you weren't working towards the role which you're focused on, then you showcase your transferable skills. So if you were flipping burgers at McDonald's, You put there, dealt with customers, dealt with cash, had meetings, facilitated meetings, dealt with vendors. All these transferable skills you can list in these roles. So that's my answer. My answer is no. Thank you very much for the question. You're welcome to ask more questions as we go along. Right. So nobody's guessing what the best method is. Here we go, Mashaba. Maybe she guessed the best method is being headhunted for the role one desires. Very well articulated. You can see she's joining us in a month's time to be the 4th in pillar 4. So thank you for that, Mashaba. Yes, it is being consistently headhunted for suitable roles, not for unsuitable roles, through your education, certification, knowledge, skills, expertise, all these type of things you want to be. What do I mean by suitable roles? Well, if you're looking for a contract role and you're headhunted for a permanent role, well, that's just a waste of time, isn't it? If you're wanting a senior business analyst role, but they're looking for a junior business analyst, well, that's not a suitable role then neither, okay? So that's wonderful. And let's see if that's what it says. Now, you need the exact next steps to strengthen your positioning. Okay, so it's a case of you know what you want. How are you going to get there? You know your dream role. Your dream role is to pass probation after 3 months for a permanent role as a senior business analyst working on a CRM system. If that is your dream role, then how do you actually get there? So we break it down into mini goals. And then each mini goal, 5, 6, 7 mini goals, we break into individual action steps. So you need to know how to do those steps to strengthen your positioning. Okay. In the comment section, which is not working too well today, how much do you think you're worth? What do you think you're worth in your currency, in your either as a permanent member of staff, an annual salary, permanent member of staff, monthly salary, or as a contractor at an hourly or daily rate? What do you think you're worth right now? Okay. Enough of that. Let's talk a little bit about 𝗕𝗂𝘂𝘀𝗶𝘂. And let's start by having a quick look at her LinkedIn profile. All right. Where is her LinkedIn profile? There we go. All right. So you can see that 𝗕𝗂𝘂𝘀𝗶𝘂 has already populated a LinkedIn profile in pillar 2. So today we are discussing pillar 3. Pillar 1 is all about the mindset, getting you in the right positive mindset. We have 8 mindset lessons and assignments culminating in a vision board, your 1-year vision board. Okay, we have rules for success, we have challenges, and all these things to get you in the positive mindset before we move on to the CV. Okay, so let's go through 𝗕𝗂𝘂𝘀𝗀𝘂𝘀's LinkedIn profile. So you can see she's got a nice about section, and I welcome you to all go and find 𝗕𝗂𝘂𝘀𝘂𝘀, reach out to her, send her a connection request. Listing the finest achievements, the methodologies and software she worked on, things like that. And then if we go into the experience section, we can see that she's now mapped out all the experience here. So currently she's a senior IT process engineer. She's working for Old Mutual, which is an international organization. And she started there last year in March. And this is how she documents her experience in bullet points. You see there are bullet points here. Okay, so that's how we want you to document it. Also, where she studied, any certificates she's got. So she's got the 6 Sigma Green Belt, just like me. And she's done the Advanced Business Analysis training at FTI. And that is very important that you gain theoretical knowledge as well as practical experience to strengthen your case when you're applying for roles. Detail any projects that you may have done. Okay, ServiceNow, that's a good one. And any volunteering that she's done. So she's been a speaker with me last year at the IIBA Summit. And we will talk about that in a little while. She's highlighted her skills. We've added her skills, and now she's busy getting nice, long written recommendations. So that's a little bit about 𝗕𝗂𝘂𝘀𝘂𝘀𝘂 and her LinkedIn profile. Okay, let's have a look here. Now let's get 𝗕𝗂𝘂𝘀𝘂𝘀𝘂 to go off mute and let her chat with us about how.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. I'm checking if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. So, how I met Mark, we met at the IIBA Summit 2025. He was a speaker on the day one, and I was a speaker on day two. So on day one, Mark had an exhibitor. He was an exhibitor actually, and I got a chance to attend his speaking session. So he shared more about connecting with purpose. You know, when you connect with people on LinkedIn, you have to connect with purpose, because this is how meaningful partnerships build a resilient business analyst. So that's how we met. Thank you, Mark.
Wonderful. Okay, let me show a slide of where we were both at the summit. So this is the day that 𝗵𝗵𝗏 and I met, November last year. I was a speaker. That's me speaking over there. Let's show it like that. So, and it was actually 𝗵𝗵𝗏's first speaking engagement. And, you know, you've got to start somewhere. You need to start somewhere. So she was a little bit nervous, but I did my best to calm her down and to let her know that I've been doing this a while. So I attended in 2017. I presented in 2020, The Power of a Mastermind. In 2023, I had a 4-hour workshop on goal setting mastery. And then I was also a track chair at the 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗍 Summit in Cape Town. That was the year that the 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗍, we won Best Chapter Award for the South African chapter. And then, yeah, then I was a speaker last year. We were also an exhibitor. This was my exhibitor stand. And yeah, it was really good to eventually meet with 𝗵𝗵𝗏 in person, as she mentioned as well. You know, we connect with people on LinkedIn. I've got 8,800 BAs, as first degree connections, all in the United Kingdom. But I haven't met hardly any of them. So it's nice to meet people in person, especially when you can meet some, you know, presidents and things like that as well. Brilliant. Okay, so that's when we met. Okay, so let's discuss who this gold mentoring program is actually for. We have got requirements to be able to attend, to be able to appoint me as your mentee. Now, a university degree, 1-year experience, reside in our regions, and want to move to a high-paying position. And then you can qualify for the gold mentoring program. Let's discuss what's in gold. So it's basically 4 pillars, and each pillar has 2 stages. So stage 1 and stage 2 in pillar 1, stage 3 and 4 in pillar 2, etc., etc. And then there are 62 lessons and assignments. So it's an online portal where you can go 24/7, 365, watch the lesson, learn what to do, why to do it, and see how to do it. I'll give you completed examples that are anonymized. We redacted the people's information for privacy and confidentiality reasons. And then you download the lesson and assignment, and then you submit it as well through our portal. We want you to improve your skills in Office. So a lot of these assignments are in Excel, in Outlook, in Word, and in PowerPoint. Right, so we get you to upskill in that as well. All right. And then you get mentoring sessions with me as well. Now, let's have a look what's included in gold. So we're very goal-oriented. So we set long-term life and career goals. That's 3 years. Then we set medium-term career goals. That's 1 year from now. And then we set short-term goals, which is either 3 months from now or the start date of your new role. If that's 2 months away or 4 months away, that's your short-term goal. So we're very goal-oriented, but we focus heavily on your 1-year goal. All right. And let's have a look. And okay, who's me? All right. So I'm 61 years old. I've got 42 years IT experience. I've had 25 jobs, 15 of them contracts, 8 of them in the UK. I'm BCS certified business analyst. I certified 2015, 2016. I've also got my Prince 2 foundation and practitioner, and I've also put that into practice. So I'm also a certified project manager with experience. This slide is old because tomorrow our company is 7 years old. So then I've got 7 years experience. I've had way over 3,000 Zoom calls, mentoring business analysts, giving free advice. We got a breakthrough session of 15 minutes. We got a career strategy session of 30 minutes. We've got a career assessment session of 30 minutes, and we've got a gold discovery session of 60 minutes. All of them free, lots of value, lots of mentoring. Okay. I also taught first-year students at a local university, 42 of them, business skills for a year. I had to write all my own curriculum and present all my own curriculum. So that's where it actually started, this passion of mine for writing courses and things like that. Okay, let's go back over to 𝗕𝗵𝗿𝘀𝗀, and then we can see this is now pillar 3, stage 5. And then we do the showcase. So we prepare you for interviews. This is the most important part about this gold mentoring program, is where we actually, secure you interviews and get you to ace your interviews. So that's the biggest part of this mentoring program, the main focus. All the other lessons and assignments in stage 1, 2, 3, and 4 lead you up to this point. So we lay the solid foundation for you to base the rest of your career on, to be consistently headhunted, to tap into the hidden job market, and to successfully apply for advertised roles. And then we focus in stage 5 only on interview preparation techniques, getting you ready for the interview, because there's 2 ways to do things in life: the perfect way and the less than perfect way. There's 2 ways to have to be a part of an interview, either in person or virtual. It's the perfect way and the less than perfect way. And I like to think that I know the perfect way, or it's close to perfect, because the results are really outstanding. And then we go through that and we make sure that we cover that in its entirety. And then as well, you can see the silver bullet strategy. I'm not prepared to talk about that. That's intellectual property. But this is a game changer in the entire program, is how we, this technique that everybody knows about, but how we implement this technique that converts interviews into written offers. Okay, then we look at your online presence, and then we go to interview rehearsal. So you'll actually sit down and you'll do a few interview rehearsals based on 4 questions that could be asked in the interview. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Why do you want to work for us? A couple of questions like that, a couple of BA questions too. And then presentation deliverables. So basically, when you're in an interview, a lot of people have to do a presentation. So we go through that as well. Okay, let's put us back onto the slide. And I think that was the first question for 𝗕𝗵𝗿𝘀𝗀. So 𝗕𝗵𝗿𝘀𝗀, I'm going to leave this over to you again. What was working through pillar 3 like for you?
Thank you, Mark. So I'm just high level. The interview preparation technique according to the pillar 3. So we all want to walk into each and every interview with confidence, using the proven interview preparation technique. And for me, the pillar 3 has showed me that there's a powerful tool that I can actually adapt, in preparing for an interview, which is called the STAR. And that is the silver bullet technique that everyone should actually get familiar with. So the lesson on the silver star bullet, they cover how to research the company, structure your answers, and present your experience in a way that aligns with the role when preparing for the interview. And yeah, when we look at the other stuff or the other technique, which is cleaning up your online presence, we take as an individual, we take a good responsibility and control of our digital first impression, by revising and refining your online profile. So that can be LinkedIn, your Instagram, your Twitter, which is now called X, your Facebook, and other social media, because some of the companies, they actually do a proper, thorough research about your online presence. How do you engage with people on a public platform? So that can either get you a job, or unfortunately, they can just not even consider you as a candidate. So cleaning up your online presence, it is very important. You get to learn how to remove outdated. The pillar 3, you get to learn how to remove the outdated, irrelevant information about unprofessional content that you post on social media, and align your public image with your professional brand. The whole purpose is for you to be headhunted, and you get headhunted for the right role that fits what you are looking for. Yeah. I think that's
Wonderful.
high level about how I found 𝗕𝗓𝗄𝗏.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you for that, 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝘀. Sounds like you really enjoyed it. Right. Let's move on to the next slide and to the next question. How was positioning yourself for opportunities changed? And more importantly, are you being headhunted? Tell us a little bit about that.
So positioning myself was very simple. It's all about cleaning up your LinkedIn profile. You need to be true to yourself, be honest about yourself. The LinkedIn profile, it is a public platform where everybody will have access to who you are, where you have worked, the companies that you have worked for, and the roles and responsibilities that you were doing. You cannot lie because the previous colleagues, your previous managers will see that, and you cannot lie, unfortunately. So that's how you actually position yourself to be headhunted, by putting all the qualifications that you have gained or achieved, the people that you engage with. I mean, you can ask some of your colleagues or your previous co-workers, previous managers, to recommend, to say something about you, and that means it puts you into a different position where you get headhunted. And I think that's how I actually position myself to be headhunted.
All right. So you told me in one of our group mentoring sessions that you were headhunted 3 times. So that's fantastic. That shows that your LinkedIn profile is working well. We have 3 new staff members that joined us this month in March. So our team is growing quickly. First, it was just myself and Petro and Rod. But now we've got Marcus Urukang in Canada and 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝘀𝗀 in South Africa and Tracy Kruger also in South Africa to join our company. And basically now with Marcus, he has gone through the Gold Mentoring Program so they can also mentor students in Canada. And he's taken screenshots of before he implemented the techniques to be headhunted successfully. And he has looked, and there 1 recruiter viewed his profile, the next day 3, the next day 7, the next day 14. He was up to 83 in 1 week. So it works. I know how headhunters work. I know how you can get headhunted. Because I'm still being headhunted for positions that I applied for in February 2019, just before I started this company in April. So yes, it's always good to be headhunted. All right, let's move on to the next question then. What have you learned about converting job opportunities into written offers?
So what I have learned is that converted opportunity is you don't always get to take the first opportunity. Try to negotiate it. Learn how to negotiate the offer that think you are, the offer that can match your skill, the number of years that we have worked for. I mean, it's all about moving your work, putting yourself first, because when you get hired by a company, it is not only about them benefiting from you. You also have to benefit from the company. And by benefiting, you are not offering or rendering your services for free. So you have to try and negotiate how much you worth and how much you believe you worth actually. And try to negotiate, the top rate that you think of. And obviously, when you negotiate, even if you go a little bit lower, but make sure that it is what you want and get satisfied with that.
Very good, correct. So this is where a lot of people fall short, 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝘀, and I'm sure you'll agree. People think, oh, they'll just apply for a few jobs. They apply for 10 jobs or 15 jobs. It takes them a month. They're tailoring their CVs. And then they secure maybe 2 interviews. And they don't feel good about that because that's a bad conversion rate, they think. And then they only get 1 offer. Now, they decided 3 months ago, before they updated their CV and LinkedIn profile and job site portals, that they were going to leave the company that they're currently working for. So now they've resigned to that fact. So they're not nurturing the relationships at work anymore with their colleagues. They're not going above and beyond. They're actually quite slack and slacking off. And now they get this one offer, and the offer is not a good offer. It could even be worse than the current role that you're in. It could be a lower salary. You could have to go to the office 3 times a week, could be very far, and all these kind of things. And they're too scared to negotiate any of the terms and conditions for fear of the offer being withdrawn. And then they don't have the offer, and then they got to stick it out at the company and keep applying for jobs. So very good. Yeah, I like the way you said that. Right. Let's have a look at then the next slide. So the next question. So basically, what are you enjoying most in the Gold Mentoring Program? What have you learned besides what you've mentioned now? What are you enjoying most there?
What I have enjoyed the most about the Gold Mentoring Program is deep diving into what is it, why in this field of business analysis. Why are you doing it? Why did you choose to become a business analyst? You get to know yourself better. You get to understand the reasons behind being part of the business analysis community, and also just to position yourself better, to be marketable. You don't want to be, well, for me, I don't see myself being a permanent employee until I retire. This program has made me realize that I can actually become more of being a permanent employee. I can actually become a consultant on my own because I go and collect all the relevant experience, and I have worked in different industries. I have worked in telecommunications. I have worked in the IT company. I have also worked in insurance. I've also worked in the healthcare industry as well. So the aim is to be able to apply the principles of business analysis, the concept, applying the same concept, the techniques, the different techniques, So for me, that has been unpacked thoroughly, during the program. And I'm very grateful to meeting with Mark, because I don't think that I would have been in this position, finding myself where I would be headhunted. So this year alone, since January, I have been headhunted 3 times, and this program. So it does work, and I'm so grateful for that.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. So that didn't go too bad, considering that you're in a coffee shop, considering that there's other people having meetings around you. You came through quite smoothly. We heard every word you said, and your video didn't freeze. So well done on taking the initiative to going to your local coffee shop and asking them if you can go there. So one thing you didn't mention that I think has really, really been of value for this mentoring program to you is your confidence level. I mean, just looking at you speaking, your confidence, you ooze confidence. You can articulate yourself very well, but more importantly, you know what you want from your life and your career, and you didn't know before you met me. So we had to map out these career goals. We had to look at the 6 focus points. We had to determine exactly where you want to go, and we had to show you that you have got a lot of value, that any company will be really, really fortunate to have you working for them. So that's what I see as well. And you've also made some great friends with the other 3 attendees. So that was really good as well. Okay, so thanks for that, 𝗵𝗵𝘶𝘶. Let's go on to the next slide. So now we're going to talk about some of our free offerings. So we offer a free CV review, but let's basically go through the CV review. Now, this is your first positioning tool. Remember, I mentioned that you need to set your 1-year goals, and then you need to redefine yourself in your CV and your LinkedIn profile and your online presence, as 𝗵𝗵𝘶𝘶 has said, in alignment with your 1-year goals. So if you want to be a lead business analyst, you need to then, start pivoting from a senior to a lead. And how do you do that? Well, you start mentoring others, you onboard others, you become the go-to person, you do a peer review of their work and things like that. You just have an open door policy so that people can come to you and maybe even, advertise your services. Come to me and do that. And then you'll slowly start pivoting from a senior BA to a lead BA, but you need to position yourself then by showing your transferable skills. So if you've never been a lead BA and you put their lead BA under your name and surname at the top of your CV before your contact information, and people say, well, you've never been a lead BA before. Well, I've been a senior business analyst for 7 years. I've never had the job title, but I've had the roles and function of a lead business analyst, because in this organization, I mentor junior business analysts. On this I think you know where I'm going to with that. So it's all about positioning yourself, not about responsibilities. We don't want you to list your roles. We want it nice and detailed, like in 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀 LinkedIn profile, where it's just not short bullet points, as is and to be. Use case and epics. That doesn't show any value. It doesn't show any impact. We need to know, if you've said as is and to be, how many as is diagrams have you done? 1, 2, 5, 10, 100. One of our students has done 127. I mean, what's the difference between somebody who's done 2 as is diagrams and 127? It's the experience, the knowledge, the skills, the speed at which they do it, right? And then you can't add to be in it, because it's 2 totally different processes. The one's been adopted already, it's the as is, and then you need to then, get that documented, approved, signed off, and sent to all the users of that process so that they can follow the process as per your process map. It's like if you go for a Big Mac meal anywhere in the world, it looks the same, tastes the same ingredients. It's vanilla. They want, that's how you need to approach this as well. Your as is. Everybody that has a touch point with a company needs to have the same customer journey user experience, and that only happens with signed off detailed process maps. And who makes those? We, business analysts. And then you're going to look at the to be. So now first you might want to do a cost versus benefit analysis and look at 5 proposed possible end solutions for the digital transformation. Let the business choose one, and then you map it out in the to be. But then you need to know the methodology that you're going to use. Are you going to use Lean? Are you going to use Six Sigma? Are you going to use, maybe add some robotic process automation or some machine learning? You need to know, or artificial intelligence these days. You need to, know that. And then you need to develop the to be and get it signed off. And when it's signed off, it needs to be implemented. And then ideally you do benchmarking before the as is, and after the to be has been implemented, BAU, the tickets have been closed after about 3 months, everyone's up to speed. Then you go measure with your stopwatch again. Gosh, I'm showing my age. Stopwatches aren't like that. They're on your phone, right? So you need to benchmark before and after to prove that benefits realization, that the business stakeholders, specifically the business sponsor, is getting their money worth for the project. All right, so it's very important that you break things up and to show your impact and your value, okay? Clarity and structure, just as I mentioned. So you can do some minor, small tweaks and tunes to your CV to make it a whole lot better. Okay, so you can actually get a free CV review from us. Petra will share the link now if she's on the call. Just paste that down. So basically, you click the link, you upload your CV, and then within 48 working hours, no, 48 is 2 working days, you will get your detailed CV review and explaining about ATS and your ATS score, and then basically lots of tips for improvement that you can implement on your CV as well. All right, wonderful. So let's have a look now at our website, and I'm going to show, if I can find it on my screen, because I've got too many screens open before. Okay, there we go. We were on 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 before. I'm going to F11 and make that smaller. So this is what the CV review page looks like. I've frozen the video, otherwise it's just going to keep playing, but let's keep playing it. We got the audio off. Now, this is the landing page for the CV review. And upload it. You just click the button, you upload the free CV review. Got a few tips over here, but in this link here that Petra will share soon, I hope. I think she might be having a bit lunch. That's what that is all about. All right. Let's have a look then at our next slide. And now I've mixed up my slides, so I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this. All right, let's have a look here. So in the next slide, we say, what are your next 2 steps? If any of this sounds interesting to you, what can you do right now, to be able to get the benefits that 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝗂𝘀𝗶, 𝗂𝗂𝗄𝗂𝘂𝗂𝗂, and 𝚘𝗂𝗂 also received through the Gold Mentoring Program. Schedule your free career assessment session with me on a available date as soon as possible. If you can schedule it, let me show you what that looks like. So we've got the career assessment page over here, and it tells you all about the career assessment. Okay, here you get the free resume or CV review as well. So this is a long page, tells you the benefits of our Gold Mentoring Program. We go into detail about the 4 pillars that I mentioned. We've got some success stories that you can scroll through with these buttons or just grab them and move them around. These are some great success. I think we've got 45 there already. Why choosing the right mentor matters, what our approach is, things like that. This is our flagship program. We try and double your income in 90 days or less. We've got a huge success rate for that. What do you learn? What are the bonuses? And then you can actually book the career assessment call right from this. We've got 132 Gold Masterminds now since I launched in August 2021. We're on version 7 of the curriculum. We also have a sneak peek. So before you invest, you can have a look what is inside Gold. I'll show you that just now as well. And it just goes on, a bit of more detail over there. And then you can book the free session, a little bit about myself and things like that. Our YouTube, LinkedIn, my LinkedIn, our Instagram and Facebook pages, things like that. All our products and services come with a 14-day full money-back guarantee. And then some frequently asked questions as well, and then very easily to go back to the top. Now, if you, I mentioned the sneak peek. So this is now when you've registered for the sneak peek, you can go and watch this video. It tells you everything about the benefits of joining Gold. We've got 29 10-minute video testimonials here as well. You can go and have a look. This is a compilation. So it's 30 minutes. They're all 90 seconds. So it's Andre and Moyo and Tandu and Funke and Frank and Philip. All these people that have given their 10-minute testimonials. And if one of them resonates with you, there's 𝗬𝗂𝗏. He's also just joined. So if you want to go and have a look at somebody specific, so if we want to go to 𝗬𝗏 after watching this and we think, oh, that resonates with me, his success story, then you can go and look at 𝗬𝗏𝗏's testimonial video on its own. And then you can actually start the Gold Mentoring Program without appointing me as your mentor, without investing any money. You can do 4 of the mindset lessons and assignments that are in the portal. Okay, so how do you go ahead and book? So we've got this career assessment page as well. And then you can go and book by just selecting the date and time. So if you say Thursday, and then you put your name, surname, email, we want to ask you a few questions. What are you interested in learning? And then anything else relevant. And then you schedule the event. There's all the details here, what we go through. So we basically go through a gap analysis. We look at where you are now, where you want to be in a year from today, and then I will do a gap analysis. We identify challenges, we personalize your roadmap, we discuss certification paths, and we improve your mindset, things like that. Okay, so that's a little bit about the Gold Mentoring Program. Let's go back to the slides. And then we also do the career assessment session. So then you can click the link. And I see Petra's busy putting in the links right now. So here is the first link in the comments section for the free CV review. Here is the link for the assessment webpage. So you can go and read all about it. And just now Petra will paste the link for the booking of the career assessment, but you can see it on the screen. Okay, that brings us to the end of this, and we are going to have 𝗕𝗂𝗏𝗂𝗏 coming up in the next event. All right, so let's go and have a quick look at that. So that is about pillar 4, and she's going to speak to us about the final pillar in the mentoring program, pillar 4. You can go to our YouTube channel, BA Space Masterminds, and go and watch the previous ones with Dora and with 𝗂𝗄𝗏 on pillar 1 and pillar 2. And she's a lead business analyst. She's actually joined us in the call. I'm not going to show her salary on the screen because it's confidential information, but hey, wow, that's a really good salary. and that is what we're going to talk about. And now we are going to move over to questions and answers. So if anybody's got any questions, now would be the time to ask us. You can either ask me a question or you can ask 𝗕𝘂𝘶𝘶 a question. Now, if you're watching this live, you can type the question in the comments. Remember, there's no such thing as a silly question, right, or a stupid question. Any question's good. Other people might want to know the answer as well. If you're watching this in a replay and not live, you can still ask questions and type in the comment section, because Petra, my valued assistant, part of her daily assignment is to go back and look at these events and see if anybody's commented, so we can together then propose a question, an answer for that. If you're watching this on YouTube on our channel, then please follow me on LinkedIn, like me on LinkedIn, and connect with me on LinkedIn. And then you can ask any questions, or you can send an email to mark@bmmasterminds.com. And I think, 𝗕𝘂𝘶𝘶, that kind of wraps it up here, because we're not receiving any questions. So while we wait for questions, why don't we have a few final words from you? You can mention anything. When, perhaps tell us about the next speaking event that you're going to go to, or something like that.
So I don't have any big events coming up at the moment. But I did send through, my applications to be speaking at some events. Right now, I wouldn't share much about those events. I just want to keep it, under the carpet for now until the applications have been successfully approved. So the final word from me, Mark, is, as an individual, so be responsible, for your career path, to just to go up, to progress in life, especially when coming to the career side of life. So we are responsible for that. And what else can do it for you? You have to put yourself, at the upfront. You have to be visible. Make yourself, visible. People should be aware that there is 𝗕𝘂𝘶𝘶 out there who is more open, to job opportunities. Don't limit yourself, to work in your country alone. Get opportunities even internationally abroad. I once went for financial insurance Australia. It was a fully remote kind of a job. So yeah, do not limit yourself. Expand your needs. You'll never know where you end up. So yeah, these will be my final words. Thank you.
All right, brilliant. Well, I'm going to let the cat out the bag. I've got a few speaking engagements going on. So 23rd of April, BA Life 2026 with Julian Newell and Linda Parker. I'm doing a talk there about, the recruitment side of business analysis. So that's going to be an online, that's virtual, 23rd of April, BA Life 2026. It's one of the biggest online events in the world for business analysis. So I hope you can join us for that. You get a discount on your ticket if you're a member of the IIBA. And basically, I'm also going to fly to Belgium, and then I'm presenting a workshop there. And that is for BA and Beyond 2026 with Philippe Hendricks and Wouter. So I'm going there. I'm taking my 12-year-old son with. We're also going to Utrecht, that's in the Netherlands, and then I'm going to go to London and meet some of my business analysts, some of my gold students. So I've got my trip planned for, that's for, I think it's the 18th and the 19th of May in Belgium, the 21st in Luxembourg, and then the 26th of May in the Netherlands. And then I'm going to be in London to meet whoever wants to come and meet me. For a nice event. We're launching our Platinum Mentoring Program. It's been over 2 years in the making. It's going to be fantastic. So if you want to come up and meet me in London, or come down wherever you are in England, then it'll be somewhere in London. We're going to be publishing those. So I'm going to end it there, because I see we don't have any questions. That's fantastic, because that means everything was self-explanatory. So again, finally, thank you, 𝗕𝘂𝘶𝘶, for joining me, and everybody have a pleasant day further.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers.